What's up, guys? This is Eric. Welcome to the Taking of Phyrix podcast, episode 4. I'm sitting here with Lucas today. We are going to be talking to you guys about the next event in our Taking of Phyrix campaign system. We got a lot of information for you, including previews of our character builder forge that we've been working on, as well as some discussions about the narrative and everything. Today's podcast is probably going to be a little bit shorter than our previous ones, just because we're held to a little bit of a time constraint. And we just wanted to get this out there so everybody could start getting their wheels rolling for the next event. So, Lucas, what have you been up to since we last talked?
Not a whole lot. Just been prepping for this. Like I said, we've been working on the character forge, um, and I've been doing some work on a new table of Death Redesigns terrain as well. A
Yeah.
big double table of, I think the line is called New Series.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I've seen the preview pictures on that. That's looking really, really awesome. I love their stuff, man.
Yeah, it's all primed.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I've been mostly finishing up the prep for the Tinker Turf table. It's about 95% done. I've got to get an order in to get a couple more pieces from them. But once we get those, I think that'll be set to go. And then, of course, I've been out of town for a week, which is why the podcast has been delayed from our normal schedule. I was doing my anniversary thing with my wife, and sadly, she doesn't like me to bring horse heresy on our vacation. So, um,
Oh,
anyways,
come on.
I know. Shout out to Jenny, I love you. Thank you for being patient with me. Um, anyways, so I guess the obvious thing is the next event, right? So our next event is
Absolutely.
the Taking of Phyrix, the Amber Strand of Phyrix Incursion.
Hmm.
And for those of you that don't know, incursion level events are what we're sticking with for naming our smaller regional events. We plan to have 3 more of these throughout the rest of the year. And then we'll have some more local stuff that'll be in the Kansas and Dallas area um, on a yet to be determined basis. um, but so the Amber Strand, let's talk about it. The narrative is almost completely done. I got a couple more things I need to finish up today. I'll get that done and get that over to Baltimore. Really looking forward. Post Adepticon, he was really happy with everything we had done and the reception to everything, and really happy to say that he signed on to continue to narrate for us going into the future. So um, I'm really happy about that. It's going to be nice to have a really big cohesive story. Um, keeping continuity, right? But I don't want to
Hmm.
give too many details or hints at what the story is. I'd rather you guys just discover it when it all comes out in a published final draft, I guess. Um, but I will say that I think the settings moving forward through the rest of the incursions that we have this year, of course, that will lead up to our big beginning of our next chapter, which will happen at Adepticon. So, for those of you that have carried on from Adepticon, this will be directly continuation from that fight. If you weren't able to attend, of course, all the audio and information that happened at the event is available through our website, and um, you can join us and begin your armies or your legion's story in the Phyrix system with us. We're really excited about it. Um, I think well, I guess let's just talking about the event. Lucas, why don't you tell us or walk everybody through what we're doing for the weekend, like what we're doing games wise for the weekend.
Absolutely. So on Friday night, starting at 4 p.m., we're gonna have the ZM set up in a more um, singles format. So we're gonna have some. It's just basically gonna be like drop in, drop out, kind of pickup games of Zone Mortalis as people kind of arrive. And we didn't want to do anything super organized on Friday night because some people might not actually be able to get there until Saturday morning. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll just be pretty, pretty low key, pretty chill ZM games. I think we're gonna play 1,500 points. of
Okay.
ZM, but really the players could decide to play whatever they wanted.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, then on Saturday, yeah, on Saturday we'll get into our organized, more structured narrative, and that'll be 2 games on Saturday, 3,000 point frontline. Basically, the only restriction is that you can't bring models with unique type,
Hmm.
and we'll go into what we're using to replace that in just a second. And then we'll do the Mega ZM on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we'll do 2 more 3,000 point frontline games on until 5 p.m. And
Right.
so we're going to do 2 more frontline games, and then we'll do a little award ceremony with prizes and stuff. And then everybody can get on the road and get on their way home. The Mega ZM is also going to be 1,500 points per player.
Yep.
We're going to tone it down. We're going to tone the points per player down just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a healthy change, coming out of Adepticon. That was really the only feedback we had on the Mega ZM. And to be fair, I think while we had played at 2,000 points before, I don't think we had had that number of players on the table. So, this is always a progression with us. And I think tweaking those points down a little bit will sort of help to keep the game moving, and lower some of the multiple engagement versus multiple players kind of thing, right? That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going
So
to be good. Go ahead.
the the points of interest system is going to make its return. That we're going to continue that all through our events. So you'll still be able to, get your archaeotech and your NPCs. If you don't know everything about that, um, it's available in the first. I think it's in the second episode
Hmm.
of our podcast.
Yep.
That goes into that in depth. It explains what that's all about. It's very cool. Just a reminder to everyone though is you must bring models with the infantry or cavalry type in order to interact with this system. So if
Right.
you want to get the full experience, you need infantry or cavalry models in your army.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
So
narratively
just
that
remember
makes
that.
yeah, narratively that makes sense. Like you're uncovering artifacts in the Phyrix system, or you're discovering characters that are in the world, and you're not doing that from the driver's seat of a tank, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely check out our previous episode if you're new to that. But also, I think in our next episode, or definitely an episode we do before the actual event, I think we're going to run down all the special rules that we use in Phyrix just to give everybody a refresher on everything. So if you want to check out the previous from Adepticon, then we'll do a more in-depth dive before the Amber Strand event in May. So I'm excited about the ZM. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think the individual games on Friday night,
Mm.
I think we wanted to basically allow us to work on the tables, getting prepped for Saturday morning, and still allow people to play. And so it's a nice balance to be able to set that thing up and let people kind of get a preview of what Saturday night's mayhem is probably going to be like, right?
Right.
Cool, man. Yeah, so I guess the event we didn't really go over this before, but if you haven't heard, the event is actually scheduled for Memorial Day weekend, which is May 26th through the 29th. It's being hosted out of a hotel in Independence, Missouri, which is a suburb of Kansas City. Um, Tickets are $80, and right now they're available through Best Coast Pairings. We recommend that you guys book early. We're just trying to get a rough plan of how many tables we need to transport. It helps with us logistics wise if you guys can book early. I know there's some questions with it being a holiday weekend, but it is what it is. Regardless of how many players we get, we're committed to doing the event. We'll have full sponsor support. Everything is going forward as if we were going to have 150 players.
Yeah.
um, so I guess with all of that out of the way, I really want to jump into the meat and potatoes of this episode because I feel like this is probably new ground for a lot of people, and I want to make sure we have enough time to really walk through and explain everything um, regarding the Phyrix character builder that we've been working on. So if you want to jump into it, Lucas, I think maybe I'll just start with the premise of what we were trying to do, right? So
Okay.
at the end of Adepticon, the narrative, if you would have listened to it, there's an event that happens in the Phyrix system that disables all of the hyperdrives of the non-capital ships. So essentially, the Praetors and named characters that you know from all the books and stories would have not been isolated here, but everybody else would have. So the idea is that we want the Legion or the army that you're playing in Phyrix to be a Phyrix army or a Phyrix Legion. Um, we want to push people to really develop the narrative of the characters they're playing. You know, why is your Praetor your Praetor? Why is your heavy support squad your heavy support squad? You know, we want you to think about not just narratively composing an army, but then narratively supporting the choices that you made. So we decided prior to Adepticon that named characters and Primarchs just suspend the disbelief when you're trying to narratively tell us. So, with the conclusion of the Adepticon event, you can no longer bring those to our events. We may sprinkle in some stuff at some times, but it's probably very rare, and more than likely not going to happen. We really are hoping to get this character forge off the ground. But that being said, Lucas, let's get into this thing.
Sure. So what we've done with the character forge is so basically we've created, at this point, we've created 3 new unit profiles, right? So you have the Phyrexian Praetor, the Phyrexian Cataphractii Praetor, and the Phyrexian Tartaros Praetor, right? And they're basically clones of the Praetor that you know and love. All of the war gear is the same, but they have some extra special rules. Now, the only thing that these guys do is basically they lock out you being able to bring another Master of the Legion, so you can't bring another Praetor, but you're not required to bring this Praetor to play in Phyrix. If you want to just play a regular Praetor with no special nothing, you can play that just like you always have. Or no Praetor at all. Some people don't like to bring a Rite of War and don't want to bring a Praetor. But the thing that we wanted to really do is we wanted to focus on the way that your praetor or really the leader of your like force in the Phyrix system has risen to command. So a lot of them are going to be maybe they were not commanders before they were kind of trapped in the Phyrix system and they have kind of they've taken up the mantle of command. New, maybe they're new to command or maybe they used to be or they've always been a commander. It doesn't really matter. But the point is to create a story and kind of to follow their progression from like being a line legionary all the way to being a commander, right? So normally from the Black Library novels and the Black books and things like that, they'll take a certain path to get there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not every commander takes the same path.
Right.
So, some of them are going to be, oh, there'll be a squad sergeant, and then there'll be like a kind of lieutenant, or there'll be a centurion, and then there'll be a praetor. Some of them, like Aenid Thiel from the Ultramarines, kind of got thrust into being a leader by his like censured status and all that kind of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
what we've done is we basically added the console types to the Praetor,
Right.
kind of.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as just taking a console. These are all custom console types.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's effectively the system works in a very similar way
Yeah,
to
it's the
to
roots
the
of it,
console.
right? It's the roots of of the idea, right? This spawned out of
Right.
to be fair, yeah, this spawned out of a conversation Alex had on a different podcast, Alex from the LVO circuit, where he was considering doing
Hmm.
something similar. And we talked to him at Adepticon and just got really fired up about it. And honestly, when you first sit down, you're like, well, it doesn't really seem like it'll be that hard. but I think as we've gone forward and moved forward, there's been some things we've had to go back and tweak and adjust. So it's definitely not just purchase a console upgrade and add it to your Praetor value, and now you have, a custom character. So I
Yeah,
guess
it's a little bit different.
yeah, yeah, and so we've gone in and given the Praetors a special rule, right, that'll allow them to do this. And yeah, I guess let me just read it real quick. These warriors have heard the call of command and risen to the challenge, some due to necessity and others due to ambition. In either case, the path they took on their rise to the top bears the mark of the roles which they fulfilled before. So the idea here is we're trying to, with the units being, or the legions being isolated here, it makes more sense that you're going to have a evolution of the forces that are here, right? The army that you bring to each engagement isn't necessarily the only units that you have available to you, but the idea is that their command structure will be evolved from the units that were here when you started, right? So obviously, if your praetor goes down, maybe the chaplain steps up as the next guy in command because you're, feeling very chaplainy. Uh, yeah. So, just 1 second. There we go. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Had to get Lucas back in the call. Um, but anyways, so I guess let's talk about one specifically, if you want. We'll jump into the first one here, which I have as the living icon. So Lucas, what do you think this, or why don't you read through the little blurb that we provided, and then we can sort of talk about what role this is supposed to fulfill, for the army.
Sure. So the living icon is among the legions, some commanders lead through technical brilliance, others through strength of arms. This commander has made a name for themselves through deeds of heroism. Their unshakable resolve and commanding presence have led legionaries to victory against all odds. With the isolation from the wider war, the commander stands at the fore of his forces, a heroic legend to which his fellow legionnaires aspire.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so. This guy is actually, in this case, this is a good example because this ended up being a hybrid class, right? Sort of a hybrid choice. We pulled from.
Yeah, it's kind of a yeah, it's like a hybrid between the herald and the chaplain.
Hmm. So if you were to select this for your praetor, we should also preface this that we would really, really, really strongly urge that you take the time to narratively explain the choices that you've made here. We'd like to see it, and I think it makes you a little bit more, engaged in the system overall. So, in this case, you have a chaplain stepping up, so he's going to grant some of the chaplain buffs like hatred and fear, right? But we wanted to go ahead. It made sense, I think, in this sense that we wanted to throw in the fearless from the herald just to sort of round out the character choice. So if this guy, being a zealot of whatever church he's loyal to, um, he's going to be the beacon. He's going to be the guy that everybody's going to look to for guidance. And so it kind of made sense to wrap the herald into that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like we kind of wanted to have you be able to write your own story, right? So like it could either be somebody who is like exemplifies the characteristics of the legion, or it can be like the chaplain who's more of like a little bit of a discipline officer. So you can kind of go either path with that, whichever one you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that works really,
So.
really well. The next one that I wanted to show off was the peerless duelist, right? And the narrative blurb for this
Mhm.
one is, this commander has studied the blade above all tools for war. In their youth, they faced many a challenger among the sparring cages and eventually won a place as one of the Legion's champions. In the Phyrix cluster, they seek to make a name for themselves and have their name alongside those such as Sigismund, Karn, and Corswain. In single combat, they excel above all others and seek to prove this, seeking other champions to prove their place. So this one is going to be leaning heavily on the champion role, right? The champion console upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with this one, you're going to pick up Duelist Edge and Precision Strikes and Never Back Down. Um, so I think this one was just sort of hey, my guy likes to beat people. He thinks he's the baddest dude in the system. Let's go, win the heavyweight belt, right? And so he's
Yep.
always looking for a fight, always prowling for the fight, and when he gets in there, he just gets after it, right? It's pretty honestly, this is one of the more straightforward ones. I think this was an easy slam dunk. But it's
Right.
also one of my favorites. I think it's going to be fun to see how many World Eaters guys run around with this guy just, trying to put the extra smackdown on people. Um, I think we might even have to bust out some Praetor wrestling, you know? Like, I think JP'd be really proud if we get ourselves a little Praetor wrestling going and just give everybody this duelist trait, for the night and just let them go ham, you know? um, and then the last one I guess we wanted to preview is the Hero of the Great Crusade. Why don't you take this one, Lucas? I think this one also is pretty straightforward, but a good example of what we're trying to do.
So the hero of the Great Crusade is kind of the baseline, if you will. This is the simplest trait, and kind of like if you don't really have exactly what you want to do in mind, this is something that you can still take, and it gives your guy a little bit of a buff. It's very easy to write a story for, and it's just easily slots in. But we didn't want to give somebody nothing. It's a free upgrade, so this one there is no points cost associated with it. So basically, every Phyrexian Praetor can choose this for free. Um, they get the Crusade Honor special rule. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to read the fluff blurb first. During the Great Crusade, this commander was awarded for his feats of valor and strategic thinking. He is seen as a growing leader among the Legion, and the Phyrix cluster will give him his chance to seize glory. So the hero of the Great Crusade gets the Crusade Honor special rule. Basically, that allows you to, if you have the Slay the Warlord secondary objective in play,
Mm-hmm.
that allows you get an extra victory point if you are the model to slay the enemy warlord. So in like a duel,
Yeah.
um, and then you also gain the unit that they join gains the Heart of the Legion special rule. So that gives them the +1 to their feel no pain when they're next to an objective.
Yeah.
So that also, yeah, that doesn't stack with one they already have. So I thought that was a good baseline buff for a unit that they joined.
Yeah. This is the kind of like
So
hold the line, seize the objective kind of Praetor, right? This is the guy you want
yeah,
just out there in the mix. Just
and he's a good all rounder.
yeah, yeah. I think it's also one of the I think cheaper upgrades on the list. So it's pretty baseline.
It's free.
Oh yeah, yeah. So this is default Phyrexian Praetor 101. I
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this, man. And I think it's also important to note, probably should have thrown this out there beforehand. This is very much a work in progress. So the finalization of the rules is going on right now. We hope to have those out to you very, very shortly. And we'll probably do a special podcast for that just to go over the rules for the Praetor character builder as a standalone video. So that way it's always available
Yeah.
going forward. And that one we will really get very nerdy about how the interactions work, how it's intended, the spirit of the rules, so that everybody understands that going into this that the point of this whole thing is to tell a story and to allow you to tell the story that you want to tell with your army. And so, just like with
Right.
our Mega ZM, rules are going to evolve over time. We're doing our best to predict and test everything that we can, but you can only play so many games of Horus Heresy, and you can only have so many theory crafting sessions before you have to just commit and publish it. So we're going to roll this out as a 1.0 version And like I said, we'll get a video together for that. Um, and then we'll sort of work on it and take feedback on it after the event and keep it rolling forward. You know, the I think the primary idea with Phyrix is always to when we add a system, we want it to be evergreen, right? We don't want it to just come and go or be a one shot. Really, we're trying to do something that permanently evolves the story that we're trying to tell, or gives the players more ability, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. I guess.
So just as a little bit of a preview, there are 9 risen to command uh, types that you can take.
Yeah.
So we went over 3, but there are 9 of them.
Yeah. Absolutely. In fact, I've got that pulled up on the screen right now. So we have some teasers for you guys. Looking forward to the full breakdown video. And I promise you, some of these are very, very fluffy. I think there's going to be some. There should be some. The idea is that something should be out there for everybody. And like Lucas said, if
Hmm.
you don't want to get engaged with this, if you think this is too complicated, it's fine. It's not going to hurt your army to not run special Phyrexian Praetor. Um,
No.
it'll still be balanced. That's the whole plan here is that you know the cost is should be equivalent, and the risk of having um, higher points sunk into an HQ is the risk that you lose more when it dies, right? And so um,
Yeah.
we think we've done a pretty good job of tuning it, so I think we shouldn't have any issues. But I really hope that everybody embraces it. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with story wise, right? To sort of explain how their guys have evolved. I think Nizar was a massive
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
yeah, the Nizar was just a massive conflict, and so many changes happened because of the narrative steps taken there. So hopefully people are interested and inspired and look forward to seeing it. Well, man, I
So for those of us joining, I'm sorry, one more thing. For those of us joining us on audio format only, the options, since you can't see them, are Hero of the Great Crusade, Epistolary, Master Strategist, Peerless Duelist, the Assault Leader, Living Icon, Disciple of Mars, the Awakened, and World Burner.
yeah.
Those are the options you can put in, and then
Thanks
there are
for
points
reminding
costs associated with
Thanks for
that.
reminding me that this is an audio primary for an audio primary podcast. I completely get entrapped in the video settings and the audio, the on live editing going on. I forget sometimes that we produce this in a mostly audio format for a large portion of our customers. So, or our listeners, I should say. Um, anyways, I think that's gonna probably wrap up the demo of what we wanted to show today, right? Like, I don't know that
I
there's
think so.
anything else that we um really needed to get over today. I know this one is really, really short, but we really just wanted to give you guys the event info, preview this system to let you know that it's coming. We're looking forward to seeing the stories and the kit bashes. That's what I'm looking forward to. We have some
Yeah,
amazing, amazing modelers and painters in our community, and I can't wait to see what they do with HQ choices that are allowed to reflect the history of what they've been, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think with that said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us. Please check out all of our socials available at our website, Linktree/Phyrix. um, we have YouTube, Instagram. We're gonna be on Apple Podcasts very shortly, and we'll have another one coming up for you guys really, really quickly, probably in the next week or two, to demo or deep dive on the actual Praetor system, answer any questions we get from between now and then. Um, I guess a reminder: join our Discord. There's lots of discussions going on over there. We're fielding a lot of questions with people over there. It's been awesome. We're making a push towards 200 people. That once we hit the 200 threshold, I think we've got a giveaway scheduled. So looking forward to that as
Yeah.
well. Lucas, you got anything else?
I don't think so. Just get your tickets for Midwest Conquest.
Hmm.
Also, just a kind of soft advertisement for we're doing also Phyrix at the Texas Open. That's
Mm,
August 11th through 13th. That's in Dallas, Texas. It's like in downtown Dallas by Reunion Tower, or yeah, by Reunion Tower.
yeah,
So tickets are actually already live on their website. It's texasopen.org. So if you want to go to that as well, the tickets for that are $80. The format is going to be very similar. We do not have a narrative ready for that yet. We're kind of trying to get through Midwest Conquest, and then we'll be launching a bunch more details on that.
yeah. The Midwest Conquest was kind of unexpected from the jump. We weren't expecting to do something so quickly turned around from Adepticon. So we're crunching through that right now, and then as soon as we get the last of the details finalized for this, we will start working on the Texas Open stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. I love Dallas. I'm excited to see a lot of the Dallas guys that I haven't seen that weren't able to make it to Adepticon and stuff. So I think it's going to be really cool, man. The other thing that we forgot to mention too
Oh, yeah.
is the merchandise store. We have basically soft launched that, correct?
Yes,
All right.
it's up and running. We're going to be adding products to that over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we're still in the process of migrating a lot of the artwork from our previous shop over, correct? And working on some new stuff as
Yes,
well. Yeah, do you have the link for that by chance? Just to shout it out because I don't.
it
Or
is on the link tree.
oh, it's on the link tree. There we go. Everything you need Phyrix wise is on the link tree. So check out the merch store. We've got some awesome stuff over there. I know I saw quite a bit of it at Adepticon, so it's always nice to see, the outreach that we get through the merchandise and everything. And of course, all of that goes toward making these events, a little bit better and a little bit bigger and everything else, right, man?
Yeah, any of the money that we make from merchandise sales goes right back into Phyrix, right?
Yeah,
Buying terrain and paying for transportation costs and stuff like that. So it's not like nobody's trying to make a bunch of money on it.
yeah, definitely.
We're just trying to break even.
Yep, for sure. Well, guys, like I said, I hope you guys take care. We will be back with you guys in a week or two with a more in depth follow up. So, thanks for listening. Check out all our socials and come hang out on the Discord. All right,
Awesome.
bye, guys.